Okay, so we talked about strategy. Now let's talk about the definition of marketing. Most of you have been exposed to marketing in many cases, but you don't really know exactly what the definition is. There's a lot of definitions that are out there. It could be meeting needs profitably, but how we define it at Carlson School is we look at it as value. Creating, communicating, and capturing value is how we define marketing. Okay, at the end of the day, the purpose of marketing is to influence consumers, and that happens in a number of ways. In our definition of marketing in terms of communicating value, that's the way in which we influence consumers. We want to influence consumers at the right time and at the right place. So how do we do that? Okay, it all starts with a consumer. And so all of you are consumers, and you've been there, so marketing is really connected to you as an individual because you guys all are consumers. So let's start with a consumer. What we do in marketing is the ability to reach a particular consumer, and what we call that is targeting. So our ability to target her is the first place we start. What we need to do to be effective in marketing, we need to identify her behavior, okay? And then at the end of the day, from a communication side, in terms of how we communicate value, we have to engage her. In marketing, we have like multiple tools in our arsenal in our ability to engage her. If you look, we have online components, offline components, social components, and mobile components. All of these are tools that a marketer has to engage a consumer, communicate value, and ultimately influence a decision. A marketer's ability to influence a consumer relies on tool sets or touch points. There's multiple touch points that we have. Like I said, mobile, offline, social. There's all the tools that we have. One of the things related back to what we discussed about strategy is all about allocating resources. What we're trying to do in marketing strategy is the ability to figure out which elements are going to connect best with the consumer. So we're allocating our resources to those. In this case, it shows that we might do email, we might do Facebook, we might do Twitter, or we might do in-store from an online. And that's how we're going to engage and influence her decisions. Marketing is all about communicating value. So values obviously mean different things to different people. And we need to really look at selection of benefits, choice of target, what's the reason to believe. Those are all elements of value that create meaning for an individual. Okay, going back to our Carlson take on marketing. Marketing is about creating value, communicating value, and capturing value. As we move on into the course, we're going to talk more about specifically segmentation, targeting, positioning, and we're also going to talk about how we can communicate value through the marketing mix and various touch points. Okay, at the end of the day, value is ultimately delivered through business models. Each company and different business has different models of ways of doing business that we're going to explore actually how that works and what that means to each different company. So the business models themselves are the source of competitive advantage. And what a business model is really describes how you decided to exploit your particular capabilities relative to the other companies within your industry. So different companies compete on different bases, and we're going to talk a little bit more of that and see how that works. As you read about in the Porter article, What is Strategy? There's different ways on people how to describe how value is described and how people can capture value. And business models are really, if you want to define them into just like the two distinct sets, there's two really types of business models. Business models that focus on differentiation and business models that operate basically on a lower price. And you can probably think of a lot of examples of companies that do a really good job of differentiating and companies that do a really good job from a lower price. If you look at it like, here in the Twin Cities, if you look at Walmart really does a good job and they compete from a lower price basis, and then compare that to Target. Even though Target emphasizes lower price, they really try to win by differentiating their service offerings. So at the end of the day, the lower price is not that it's a commodity, but that's the affordable play where differentiation, and we're going to talk more about that as a marketing term as well, that's really the two bases that companies compete and how business models are set up to leverage either a differentiation strategy or a lower price strategy. The two different strategies, a low price strategy versus a differentiation strategy, really operates on two different business models. A cost leadership strategy is required to offer the low prices. So you have to lower your prices, lower your cost in the firm that enables you to offer lower prices. A differentiation strategy that firms employ typically involves higher cost structure to get there to actually offer that differentiation to consumers. A lot of people rip on marketing as this example of a Dilbert cartoon and Dilbert's boss, saying we can't compete on price, we can't also compete on quality or features or service. That leaves frauds, which I like to call marketing. So that's a bad example of marketing, but it's funny. A lot of people think that differentiation it's not just about being better, but it actually relies on being different. So we're going to talk about like what it means actually to be different and how that really affects people's business model and actually the relationship with the consumer.